Shalom. I'm Eddie Chumney of Hebraic Heritage Ministries, and we welcome you to this week's Focus Israel Report. In this week's report, we're going to look at the current status of the Israeli-Palestinian peace process, as well as the current situation and the prospects for war involving Syria and Iran. First, the peace process. Jordanian Foreign Minister Nasser Judeh visited Ramallah to encourage Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas to continue peace talks with Israel. Abbas told him that the Palestinian Authority will not resume Mideast peace talks without an Israeli settlement freeze. Abbas plans to send a political letter to Israel in the coming week, which Palestinian officials described as quote-unquote the mother of all letters. They said that it would hold Israel responsible for the failure of the peace process because of its insistence on building in the settlements and refusal to recognize the pre-1967 lines as the basis for a two-state solution. It will set conditions to continue the peace talks, which will include an Israeli government acceptance to the two-state solution based upon the 67 borders, with the possibility of a limited exchange of equal pieces of land and a full halt to building of Jewish homes in the West Bank and in East Jerusalem. Furthermore, the conditions will also include the release of Palestinian prisoners, especially those who have been detained before 1994, and canceling all the decisions taken by the Israeli government since 2000. Jordanian Foreign Minister Nasser Judeh is expected to deliver this message to Israel after it is reviewed by the quartet, who consists of the United States, the European Union, the United Nations, and Russia, who have the job of being the overseers or the mediators of the peace process. It will be reviewed by other countries as well. The Palestinians are waiting to see the results of a quartet meeting, which will be held in New York in the coming week before they release the letter. France's President Nicolas Sarkozy, who is running for re-election, said that in his next term that he would visit Israel and the Palestinian territories to push a European peace initiative. Sarkozy also expressed doubt that given the U.S. electoral calendar that the United States would be able to play its usual role as the main guarantor of the Middle East peace process during 2012. There is a presidential election in the United States in November, he said, and President Obama, who he says is a very good president, won't take the initiative before the November elections. So there's a place for France and a place for Europe in the peace process. Meanwhile, the Obama administration has told Palestinian leaders to expect little help with their statehood bid during the U.S. presidential election season. The Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad Malki said in an interview. He also said that the United States held out the promise of vigorous mediation in the peace process if President Barack Obama is reelected. Next, we will share with you the situation with Syria. The Obama administration is moving to provide direct assistance to the internal opposition in Syria for the first time, marking a shift in U.S. policy toward a more aggressive plan to help get rid of Syrian President Bashar Assad. Last week, a group of senior Obama administration officials met to finalize a package of options for aiding both the internal and external Syrian opposition, to include providing direct humanitarian and communications assistance to the Syrian opposition. However, the initiative does not seek to provide direct military assistance to the armed opposition. Even so, the United States has decided to not oppose, either in public or in private, the arming of the rebels by other countries. The U.S. policy is now more directly aligned with enabling the opposition to overthrow the Assad government. In commenting regarding the current situation in Syria, U.S. President Barack Obama said that it was only a matter of time before Syrian President Bashar Assad left office. U.S. officials said that the United States was committed to diplomatic efforts to end the violence rather than direct military intervention, saying the United States wanted to isolate Assad, cut off his sources of revenue, and encourage unity among his opponents. Finally, we're going to share with you regarding the current situation with Iran. U.S. President Barack Obama said that he opposed containment on Iran and would use military force if necessary to stop it from acquiring nuclear weapons, but said that there was still time for diplomacy to work. He also said that Israel had a right to make its own decisions to protect itself. Speaking before the Israeli organization AIPAC, Obama said, "I do not have a policy of containment. I have a policy to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. I will not hesitate to use force when it is necessary to defend the United States and its interests." But he also emphasized that, "I firmly believe that an opportunity still remains for diplomacy backed by pressure to succeed. Now is the time to let our increased pressure sink in and to sustain the broad international coalition that we have built." U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said that international sanctions against Iran are the toughest ever. The U.S. Secretary of State said that, coupled with robust sanctions imposed on Iran, the international community remains committed to reaching a settlement through diplomacy. Meanwhile, European Union Foreign Policy Chief Catherine Ashton accepted an offer by Iran to meet with six powers: the United States, Russia, China, France, Britain, and Germany, called the P5+1, to discuss Iran's nuclear program. The initial meeting is expected to be held next month in Istanbul, Turkey. Russia said that Iran has proved that it's ready for serious negotiations. British Prime Minister David Cameron warned that Iran is seeking to build an intercontinental nuclear weapon. The International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, said that Iran has tripled its monthly production of higher grade enriched uranium and that they have serious concerns about possible military dimensions to Iran's atomic activities. The six world powers have requested that Iran let the IAEA international inspectors visit a suspected Iranian military site at Parchin. Iran said that it will give the IAEA access to the facility based upon certain conditions set by Iran. U.S. President Obama said, "We won't let the Iranians drag out the negotiations, try to deceive us, and continue pursuing their nuclear program under cover of the talks in Istanbul." Obama went on to outline the conditions the Iranians would be required to meet in the first 2 months of the talks with the six world powers, due to begin in April, or else Obama would personally cut them short. It is not expected that Iran will agree to these conditions. Head of the National Security Council, Major General Yaakov Emigdor, said that Israel must be ready to act against Iran should talks between the international community and Iran fail. Israel had reportedly communicated to Obama when Netanyahu came to the United States that unless Obama makes a firm pledge to use U.S. military force to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear bomb, Israel may well take matters into their own hands within months. The real urgency comes from the fact that Israel intelligence has concluded that it has only between 6 and 9 months before Iran's nuclear facilities are immune from a unilateral military strike. In order to give sanctions a chance, Netanyahu would effectively have to give up Israel's ability to strike Iran and leave the country's fate into the hands of the United States, which is why he is demanding a clear sign of commitment from the American president. Speaking to AIPAC, Netanyahu said, "Never again will our people have to live in the shadow of annihilation." The Israel news reporting site Debka reports that Obama privately admitted to Netanyahu that Iran's Fordo underground uranium enrichment plant can no longer be destroyed by bombs and missiles. Netanyahu replied to Obama that Iran is building not one Fordo, but 10. "We can't wait much longer," said Netanyahu. How much is much longer is the subject of debate, but one thing is clear. Israel won't wait beyond 2012 or until after the U.S. presidential election in November. Israel's Channel 2 reported that the decision has already been made by senior Israeli leaders to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. All U.S. intelligence officials are confident that Israeli leadership has already decided to attack Iran unless a significant change happens in the coming weeks or months with the Iranian nuclear program, the channel quoted a senior American official as saying. As a result, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that an attack on Iran could take place within a matter of months. Obama has made it clear to Israel that a military strike would be premature, and economic sanctions, diplomatic pressure, and negotiations must be allowed to run their full course before the military option is considered as a last resort. Obama said that there is a window of opportunity to stop Iran's nuclear program. He said he didn't expect a breakthrough in the P5+1 first meeting with Iran, but added that it would be quickly possible to see how serious Iran was, commenting to the voices of American politicians who are beating the drums of war regarding Iran. And Obama said that those who are speaking so loosely should consider the consequences of their words or going to war. French Foreign Minister Alain Juppé said that it was important to ensure that Israel is fully aware of the potential consequences of a military strike on Iran. Israeli state officials expressed disappointment with the results of the Netanyahu-Obama meeting that took place in the United States on March the 5th. It was clear from recent months that there are differences between Israel and the United States. We have a different perspective when it comes to the question of time and red lines, said the Israeli official. Obama said that he did not believe that a decision by Israel on whether to attack Iran would have to be made within the next 2 months. While Israel is skeptical of Iran being persuaded to stop its military program from the talks that will begin next month, it seems that Israel will wait until the conclusion of the talks to possibly attack Iran. Obama and Netanyahu have agreed to meet again regarding the situation with Iran in July. Therefore, while Israel seems to be willing to attack Iran as early as May, the United States wants Israel to wait till at least August before considering such a strike. Furthermore, the United States may consider a strike on Iran as soon as the fall or in the early part of 2013. U.S. Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta said that while military action against Iran is the last alternative, if all else fails, the United States will act militarily against Iran. So this is going to conclude this week's Focus Israel report, where we looked at the current situation regarding the Israeli-Palestinian peace process, as well as the situation with Iran and the prospects for war in the near future involving Israel, the United States, and Iran. Until we do it again, Shalom in Yeshua the Messiah. Amen.